Good afternoon, everybody. My name is TJ Muehleman, and I am founder and chief organizer person of Standard Co. Here with another edition of our wildly popular data series. Data is awesome, but managing data still kind of sucks. Today, we're going to talk about place names. Where do we live? Where are we from? What do we call things? I'm from Bothell. I live in Bothell, Washington. I'm from Houston, Texas. I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. These are place names and zip codes and boundaries and cities and states, all things that in high income countries are well understood and published with a regular cadence. So, for example, Atlanta, from there, love that place. It's also called ATL, A-Town. Nobody calls it Hotlanta, except for our friends at Switchyards in downtown Atlanta. The city too busy to hate. It's a lovely sentiment, but nobody calls it that. The 404, the Big Peach, don't call it that either. The city TJ is from, we definitely don't call it that. My point is these are all aliases or pseudonyms for Atlanta. You can Google these, you will be taken back to Atlanta. Even Google has it baked into their API to search for pseudonyms or alternate names. But what about low and middle income countries? For example, Haiti. This is a real world scenario for us. We're working in Haiti with a client who sends us data that they've been collecting in Google Sheets that they've been storing with these kinds of names right here for locations. They don't really mean anything to us because I don't live in Haiti. I don't know anything about the country. I'd love to go there, and I think the people are lovely. But are these places, are they cities, are they states? And if you Google it, nothing really comes back. And this is super common in low and middle income countries where geographical boundaries change much more frequently. Names they use local aliases instead of common names. And looking at how a geographical region changes over time is extremely difficult, and what do they call it is extremely difficult. So one of the things we do at Standard Data frequently, and have been doing for a long time, is taking colloquial names like what you see on the screen and turning it into something that is actually formal that we can then tie to real data. So meet me over at our data visualization tool, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're looking at real data here. So this is a client who's been tracking births by section, okay? And we showed you just a few minutes ago. That's what the section name is. And it turns out that this is not a formal name. This is just a sort of a shorthand that they use in the country to refer to these particular sections. Kind of like calling Atlanta ATL or the 404 or heaven forbid, Hotlanta. Same concept. So we have live births and we have section and we have the time period. But what if I wanted to associate these sections with the formal name so that I could get more demographic data about that section from maybe the government of Haiti? Well, that's what we do. So you can see here, I'm just showing the data that the client has. So I've written a script that actually connects to internal database we have of sort of aliases and names and time periods that allows me to run this. So this alias, 11MA, 12MA, 1RA, I apologize, I'm butchering those pronunciations, to the formal name that you might find in a map, that you might find in a geo data set, that comes along with it, the population. And one thing you can actually do now that you've actually connected this informal name to the formal name is you can actually do a per capita, which is adjusting for population. So for example, this particular section had 79 births in fiscal year 19 with a population of 109,000. That means they have on average or 72 births per 100,000. Again, this is a way of normalizing data. The section right below it has 52 births, which is not that much smaller than the 79 before it, but because it's a significantly smaller section or town, it has actually 276 births per 100,000. So this is sort of an example of, again, standardizing your data allows you to actually then compare data and actually see what trends might be happening. Because without this standardization, you would just say 79 births versus 52. Okay, I mean, that's not that much different. But in fact, it's dramatically different because of the size of the section. Okay, so hopefully that was a helpful example of standardizing names. And if you want to see another real world example of this, there's a great documentary on Netflix about Bill Gates, where he talks about one of these challenges they have in Nigeria trying to eliminate polio. And they talk about how the district boundaries, when you get into the rural areas of Nigeria, they tend to change. And this is an incredibly common problem throughout sub-Saharan Africa, South America, the Caribbean. So if you're interested in this, you want to learn more about it, that's a great documentary, and it sort of highlights that as a challenge. And it's a challenge that we, as folks who like to standardize data, take on very frequently, and look forward to helping you solve that problem. So please, if you found this video useful, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell folks who work in middle-income countries, low and middle-income countries that, hey, we can help standardize data and build cool maps for them. Thanks so much.